Hello and welcome to the Jim and Burns and Dave podcast. This week we're going to be talking about our work with Capcom for Resident Evil 7.
Although, not too much.
Not too much. A ray of sunshine in what has been a terrible year. So, as you may have seen, we announced yesterday. Oh, no, actually, when was it? When's this going out, Jim? Is this going out tomorrow?
Is it fucked?
No, mate, Monday. All right, last week.
It's going to go out pre-GMAs, isn't it?
All right, well, last week we announced that we are working with Capcom on a creative campaign in the lead up to the release of Resident Evil 7. We can't say too much because the game itself is under mega NDA.
Yeah.
I mean, if I even have a thought about the things that I know about it, someone will just come out of a cupboard and assassinate me.
Yeah.
And with good reason as well. But we can say we're really excited. This is the thing, or one of the things that we've been working on.
Yeah, it's just proof that we've not just been lying around here doing nothing, really.
Yeah, lads, when are you going to do something? Yeah, we're trying. Like, do you know how long these things take to negotiate?
I mean, it's mad. Like, I tweeted the other day, we'd been working our asses off, and we took a Friday off, and I tweeted at something like 10 past 11 on a Friday about an episode of Deep Space Nine I was watching, and somebody responded really sarcastically with, "You used to have a job." I'm like, I still have one. Like, I didn't...
Except now I decide when I do the work rather than someone else.
Like, it just now I have a job where if I want to spend all day watching Deep Space Nine, I can. I mean,
exactly.
It often doesn't make economic sense, but I have that freedom. So, yeah.
Well, we can't say any of the specifics about what is going to be coming, but I'm sure if you use your brains and the...
It's a really exciting project, isn't it? Because we all are genuine fans of Resident Evil. So.
It's,
and the composition of this team's skills... Yeah. I'm sure you'll be able to...
Our 12-year-old selves would be very excited by this news, I think.
Yeah, they would.
It's very exciting stuff. But that's all we can say about that. Just rest assured that we're doing stuff.
So we should probably answer some of these questions now.
Yeah.
As usual.
Some good questions this week.
No, they're getting better, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's one. No. Don't insult the audience, Burns. It's not allowed.
That's been in your entire career so far.
Yeah, I've won a lot of awards for that. Did you know that? Anyway, listen. Hold on. We're being a bit...
I love how your shtick is video games are shite and so's the audience that like them.
Yeah.
And it's like, need to tone that down now.
What? I love video games. I've never said that I didn't like video games.
He just doesn't like people, Jim.
You
just
have
people
said...
Wait, I've never said that.
You've said that
and
loads of times.
I have maintained...
The amount of times you've been like, video games are dog shit, mate.
I have maintained throughout my entire career, whether that was making the games, or helping to make the games, or working, critiquing those games,
right,
that an active and engaged audience, be that on social media or forums or even letters back then, was essential to... No, seriously.
You can't even keep
Sorry,
it up. No,
I felt very Trump then. I felt like, I'll just lie now.
When you ended your career in games editorial, the thing you were most proud of was the fact that you had never awarded a 10.
No, I know.
You also never let me award a 10.
Yeah. What I said, let's get this correct. What I said is that there were games out there that exist that I would have given a 10 to, but I just never had.
And you were very proud to have avoided them for your entire career.
The only thing I'm proud of is
games
not...
would be 10, Steve Burns?
Well, the original Tetris.
Kane and Lynch 2.
Okay.
Kane Lynch 2. Possibly Kane Lynch 3, which I played yesterday at I.O. That's a lie. It's great. You know what? I know why Donald Trump's into this now.
Yeah, just lying.
You just make up your own reality. Yeah, I played Kane Lynch 4 in LA last week. It was brilliant. No, you didn't? Well... Maybe I did. In my brain I did, so that's just...
What's the art style like? Oh, it's really good. It's rendered to look like it was... to look like it's being shot on a GoPro.
It's rendered to look like someone pissing into your urinal covered in frost. Right, no. I've completely lost my train of thought now, and probably we've said some things which have annoyed people. So, listen, let's get into the lovely questions to kick things off.
We've got one from Bob the Scutter, who is a remnant from my days on the Trek BBS.
I was going to say Trek BBS there as a joke, and then you you're a cliche.
He's one of the people who have I've kind of maintained contact with from my days on that forum, because we both kind of jumped onto Twitter, and we've got a very adversarial relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Trek BBS does seem like the sort of place that would foster that. Listen, here's the question, right? The question is, if you had blockbuster-style budgets, what would your passion projects be, and how would it differ from standard fare?
Good question.
All right, so you're a filmmaker. It's 1971. And the studios
Why
have
have we
gone
gone back in time?
because that's the last time that
They trusted directors.
that they trusted the director with any money. Yeah, exactly. And it lasted for literally about 9 years. So
Yeah, because they all got fucking gacked off their faces and
Yeah.
made stupid shit.
I've
Yeah.
made masterpieces.
Like
Like
two-
listen, you tell Jimmy, don't, you can't. He's dead.
cinema.
But listen, we'll get to Heaven's Gate in a moment.
Yeah.
But I
Have
don't
you
know.
seen 2001? Are you fucking mad?
I have seen 2001.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?
It's fucking shite.
Are you? Oh, here we go. Here we go. All space films should be about.
Oh, that's just what Deep Space Nine on the loop.
Yeah. Oh, it's about
Listen,
man's
listen,
inhumanity to man
listen.
reflected through a
That
prism
film-
of. Shut
That
up,
film
mate.
only works when you watch it on a giant screen and you have.
That's
the,
what it's made for.
and you
It's
have the
cinema.
spectacle.
Have you heard about
It's not made
this
for a
film?
fucking mobile phone.
But you watch it on any other medium and it completely falls apart
Wrong.
because it has absolutely because it has no thread at all. It has no hooks.
But it is made for cinema,
It's
yeah.
just imagery. It's great imagery, but that's it.
You're being a twat. Anyway, listen. So, what would I make? Well, firstly, I would make if I had infinity money, I'd make the story that I've always wanted to tell.
Well, the Steve Burns story.
No.
Just
that-
before or after you've bought the gold-plated Uzi
That was when I was at Mayor of Cambridge.
and
Yeah,
the
actually,
company
it's
yacht,
in
the
this.
Spirit of Blair.
Spirit of Blair, Lionel. No, I'd want to make the 26-part passion project of mine would be the legend of Bicky Nut. So, if you don't know, Bicky Nut is as well. It's just Nicky Butt with some of the letters. And if you don't know,
Wow, that's the passion.
and if you don't know who Nicky Butt is, he's a former Manchester United midfielder.
Right. I don't have like a very kind of specific passion project in my head. I mean, there's a few things I've thought about and would like to make. There was one I mentioned to you the other day. I was thinking about like I'd love the idea of like a really sort of capitalistic story about people who go back in time to alternate universes and sell weapons to the Romans.
Like the opening of Time Cop.
Is that the opening?
So the
time?
only good bit in Time Cop
Is that when in the 30s and the guy's like, I'm
stagecoach.
I'm
He
making all
pulls
the
out
money.
the and there's like 5 of them, and he pulls out the 2 like submachine guns. You're like, this is, and then it's all about mullets from there on out.
I'm going to be honest, so far my money is with that over Bicky Nut.
The Legend
biopic.
the Legend of Bicky Nut. Are you fucking joking me?
But I love the idea of just going into, because I listen to a lot of history podcasts and read a lot about stuff.
You can't fucking read. Like,
I love the idea of going back and like just picking like a bunch of random kind of alternate dimensions, parallel universes, and go, right, we'll go to this one. We'll go back and sell a load of fucking nukes to the Romans. We'll sell a load of weapons to the Ming Dynasty. We'll sell a load of to the Aztecs or whatever. And then you jump forward and see what happens. So there's this this ridiculous fucking research project where you're basically ruining other realities just to write a paper. But then eventually they come a cropper because they get back to their own time and find out that they have advanced the Romans so far that they overtook them in technology, invaded their reality and killed everyone, which is what the Romans would do.
that's, you know what?
That's a good idea. We're going to start writing that this week.
Yeah,
So,
I'll probably.
other projects
Shall we
on
cut
hold.
all of that before someone goes? I was listening to these tossers talking.
Well, no, I've said it publicly, so now it's my copyright.
That's how it
That means
works,
that's intellectual property now. That's
I think the idea of what wars would have been like if they were fought with different technology is fascinating. The most interesting one isn't the. This is not to mug you off, Jim. Isn't the one you're talking about where you go back and give what is considered a primitive race or whatever or army.
nothing primitive about the Romans, mate. They had
well,
underfloor heating.
What have they ever done for us?
Listen, I'm not specifically talking about the Romans, but the one you think about where you go back and you give whoever a nuke. Like, firstly, they wouldn't be able to fire the weapon; it would just be there, and they'd be like, "Oh,
so we'll sell you the nuke, but I mean the infrastructure to maintain
fly it, to
and
drop it,
fly it. Yeah. I mean, we're basically going to have to install a team here as well.
the ultimate in upselling." So you've got
yeah.
this weapon; it can literally destroy an entire nation. Great, we need those guys gone. Oh yeah, but to use it, you need a plane. What's a plane? Right, it's like a bird, but it's made out of this special metal. What? Kill this man immediately. But the one that is really interesting is helicopters in the Second World War, about how large-scale deployment of helicopters would have changed some of those engagements.
Yeah.
because you think of how flight was, advanced for its time and everything, but how different certain, Normandy,
invading from the air rather than the sea.
yeah, Market Garden, all of those places, and how that would have changed it all. And I think one of the most interesting things that Modern Warfare 3 did, and we talked about this before, is it has its own version of the Normandy landings in Hamburg, but you're in a chopper rather than in a boat. So it draws on that, Omaha Beach sort of thing, whilst satisfying at least my curiosity. Like, oh yeah, you just fucking chopper in, wouldn't you? Not I'm on a tiny boat now, and if the weather's bad, I'm just gonna die. Great.
Yeah, it's the things like that hinge on stuff like weather.
Oh, there's clouds today. Sorry, it's over.
It's incredible. I was also reading about how when they marched all the way over from China and and they hit Denmark, that it was such a bad winter that they turned around and went, fuck this, we're going to go back and not expand further into Europe because it was so like boggy. But if they'd actually just like waited out how different history would be.
A lot of that. So I've been watching a lot of the World War recently. To watch it, I literally just opened the curtains of my house and I can see into the Shard, which is probably the new Reichstag. But it's the Operation Barbarossa and how German idiocy and hubris and but supply lines are the issue. So when you're talking about old wars being fought, everything has its supply line, and of course the further you get, the more stretched you are, and any breakage in it is a massive problem because you need the fuel, you need the weaponry, the munitions, whatever. But yeah, so I think that's what you're talking about, Jim, has like real potential. But most of it would just be people sitting around going, okay, so that mountain's still there. Can we bomb the mountain? No, because we forgot to bring the plane back in time. Fuck. Can we just invent the plane? No, it's a while yet. And it's gonna. But there was also I've read something.
There'll be a lot of admin.
Yeah,
also building the actual time machine is
that's how you stretch it out over 7 seasons, though, right?
Oh yeah,
that's how you would,
just 6.5 seasons of admin.
It'd be like
the
Mad
playoff.
Men, except like you've got to sell fucking nukes to the Romans.
I mean, I tell you what, we should probably write it. One interesting thing about when you say if you gave them the nuclear weapon, that they wouldn't know how to use it is, and it's not exactly the same. But there's a really interesting thing with some university or something. I'm hazy on the details, and I apologise. They had a box full of laptops, and as like a test, they put them somewhere. Like they sent them to a country where these people just don't have any contact with the outside world. They don't have any technology that's reliant on loads of electricity or anything like that. And apparently they just left them there. And after like a little while, someone had worked out how it, because human curiosity you'll just start fiddling with it, right? Like children learn how to use anything just by giving it to them and going, just fuck around with that until you work it out. And they said it was amazing the level of technical proficiency these people had after not ever seeing this technology before, and then what, 2 months later, like everyone's using it.
What happens.
Everyone's
probably not the best idea for dealing with nuclear weapons, though.
I know, but not saying
not
saying that those people are stupid, but just saying that they hadn't used those things before, and how there's that kind of. I think a lot of people were taken aback because they have that kind of arrogant Western. Oh, other people don't know how to do stuff. We're the people, and it's like, no, people do know how to use things when you're not being a twat.
It's more poverty that's keeping them back,
or
remoteness, rather than
So,
stupidity. For mine, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one, Steve Burns. If I had infinity money, I'd really like to do a Metal Gear film. There's so many like incredible stories in there.
Yeah, I like the one with the woman with the bikini on.
Is that your favourite?
She can't wear a shirt because she breathes.
Yeah, probably cut that.
And when you find out her motivation for not wearing any clothes, you're going to feel very silly.
Yeah. Oh, it's photosynthesis, lads. What? Yeah, she's a plant.
Nonsensical.
And I don't mean in the spy game. Metal Gear.
In the E3 audience sense.
Yeah. The only one that I would consider adapting, well, the only two would be the original Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 3. Metal Gear Solid has the great advantage of having a basically Die Hard style cast of villains, but amped to the nth degree. Metal Gear Solid 3 is Apocalypse Now, you literally go upriver at some point and then you kill someone who
Yeah.
is who works for the US military and has apparently gone rogue, regardless of their motivations. So yeah, the problem is the casting. There's always going to be a problem with the casting. I mean, obviously, Kurt, if you could go back in time while you're there selling the guns to the Romans, if you can just stop off and get Kurt Russell back from 1982 or 81, that'd be literally perfect because that's who he's modelled on.
And Kurt Russell, once he's grown up in a world where the Romans had nukes. I mean, it would be a very different world. I mean, I think basically what I think would happen is that the Chinese Empire at the time and the Roman Empire were sort of aware of each other, but they were so far apart there wasn't any direct contact. There was a Silk Road, and there were goods that made their way from one to the other, and but it was there was there would have been 2,000 people between a Roman and somebody in Beijing. So they were sort of aware of each other, oddly very similar as well, oddly a lot of the same kind of social structures. It's really fascinating when you read about the two.
Have you read Civilization by Niall Ferguson?
No.
Talks about that in great detail. About those exact two things.
I'd like to read that actually, because it's really fascinating how similar these cultures were developing on other sides of the planet, really, and how they interacted but were never in contact.
It's like Godfather and Godfather Part 2,
Yeah. But I've always wondered.
All roads lead to there.
I've always wondered if they had met each other, they would have clashed.
Sure.
There is no question.
The Romans weren't first meet people, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When people meet me, they're like, that guy's a tosser. But then after a while, you're like, oh, no, he is a tosser.
If you had a Roman Empire that had much better technology, even if they were advanced 500, 600 years technology-wise, how you got recognition as a Roman leader, as a Roman general, as a Roman emperor. Basically, you had to fucking annex a territory. You had to claim somebody else's territory as a province, and that's how you advanced your career. You had to either be instrumental in taking something over or take something over. Claudius. Famously, he was disabled. He was ridiculed for that. He was considered a fool, an idiot. And how he strengthened his position was by just leathering money and manpower into taking over Britain, which was not a really great idea. It was a hostile land. It was over an ocean. They weren't very good sailors.
Now he's in the Tory government, right?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And he did that purely so he could add the name Britannicus to his name and get a bit more respect. It's like, you invaded. You invaded.
It's quite ambitious, isn't it?
An entire a distant rainy. I mean, you think of distances back then where there's no planes. There's no diesel engines in boats, so it's it would be the equivalent of invading the moon, just to get a promotion. I'd
promote someone if they showed that much initiative.
Well, I know,
right?
but I mean, it's a lot. I mean, you could just sort of tart your CV up a bit, mate.
Just lie. No one's going to go down there, are they?
Yeah.
I conquered it.
You should have said. Who's going to check? Which general did you
Who's going
send?
to march over and
Which
find
general
out?
did you send? Cassius. He's dead now. You don't know him. But yeah. I totally forgot what I was talking about, but I'd imagine the clash between the Romans and the China and the emperor I've forgotten the actual proper name for it, but the empire that was knocking around China at the time would have been quite spectacular, and probably would have. I mean, that would have been World War Zero, wouldn't it?
You could go back and be the architect of that happening.
Yeah.
Turn Rome to go. So
essentially, what you want is the video game Civilization, but in television format.
Oh shit! I should actually just play Civilization, shouldn't I?
Because that's all I do is get mega teched up until you've got the Ed 209 Walker things, and then just totally isolationist, and then be like, right, let's have some of this then, you twats, and you just blow everyone.
Maybe that's what Brexit actually is the plan, just to turn inwardly and collect arms and
just to get to the Ed 209 stage, and then we'll be like, we're open for business now at the barrel of the gun.
Yeah, Ed Miliband 209. Right, no more. Right. Okay, well, actually, speaking about that,
I had a funny story about that though.
Go on then.
Passion projects.
Yeah.
I was. I had an
Oh,
interview.
Is this about Spagball?
No.
Deep Space 10.
Honestly, very short story. I had an interview for the Edinburgh College of Art back when I was like, must have been 18 or 19.
Mm-hmm.
I was really desperate to get in, really nervous about the interview, and I didn't realise, but one of the things they asked me was, if you had all the money, what film would you make? You know, what would you like to do? And so I had to, on the spot, come up with something that and make it sound like I'd been thinking about this for ages, and this would be my fucking opus, right? And I don't even know how it entered my head. I was like, I'd like to make a biopic about Nefertiti.
Wow, it's out of left field for sure.
And because I think I'd watched like Cleopatra and like a few other epics recently, and I was like, I'd like to resurrect the kind of the 60s 4-hour epic and make it about Nefertiti, because nobody knows anything about her. The woman who was interviewing me, turns out she was from North Africa. She knew a lot about Egyptian history and started quizzing me about it.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, so what sort of research have you done? What kind of, I'm thinking to myself, I've not actually started making this. Are you fucking joking?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I mean, she was Tutankhamun's mum. And I didn't get in. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Surprise.
Probably thought.
I mean-
They probably thought, shit, this guy, like, this had this, quite an interesting pitch, and then you realise, oh no,
And
it's
then-
literally
He's only
the
got as
first.
far as the log
They
line.
immediately realised that I had made no preparation and just pulled it out of my ass. And I also forgot my show reel, so I was never getting it.
That's also a bit of a blunder, but
yeah.
I'm glad we held on for that one because
That
that
would
is
have been
fine.
an alternate reality, and you might not have been sat here.
You definitely wouldn't. be
Yeah,
sitting
I
there.
might have had a Fraser Nelson accent and be making fucking documentaries about shite for BBC Four. So,
Right. Well, on that note, Busker Lily asks, given the shite state of everything, which fictional dystopia do you think we're moving towards? Well, I mean, if we're going from a very British angle, like, 2000 AD, Judge Dredd exists for a reason. It's Judge Dredd, when you look back on it now, it's like, oh, ho, ho, yes. Like, no, like that.
I mean, we've been in 1984 for a while, haven't we? We've had
Yeah.
that period of surveillance and stuff. It feels we're more heading towards Children of Men or District 9, with not in the fertility sense for that, but in terms of the immigration.
RoboCop,
And all, yeah,
clearly
RoboCop.
into RoboCop territory now.
I think
absolutely.
it feels like we're heading for Children of Men,
Which is fine because, like, listen, you know how I feel about children. Like, I think they're rubbish.
But no, but what
Yeah,
So,
we're more about the immigration side, not the not giving birth to children side.
because all that stuff
yeah,
in
that
Children
stuff
of
can
Men.
get
I mean,
fucked.
I've not read the book, but all the when the films like
The book's good, but I think the film's actually better. It's one of those rare cases.
Go watch it again. I didn't like it once.
But they've got those adverts in the buses, and it's like Britain stands proud. Britain carries on. It's all that this jingoism.
Yeah, well, that's
fucking-
exactly.
Sadly, something akin to that is what we're heading to. And
Maybe
obviously,
we can head towards the Purge. So if anyone out there's got Jeremy Hunt's address, then they can send that right through.
I think one of the things, and I won't talk about politics too much longer, is that if you've ever lived for years and years outside of Britain, then I came back to Britain in the mid 90s, and I wasn't impressed with it then. And everyone thinks, 1996 when I came back, and everyone was like, oh, that's the golden era. Man United did beat Liverpool in the FA Cup final that year.
Got the
which was
Spice
amazing.
Girls, take that, Oasis.
Blair's, the new
Blair,
Labour
yeah.
stuff. I came back and I just couldn't believe it. From the country that I'd come from, and I was like, this place is a load of old shit in comparison. So, yeah, I think it's easy to get blinded and think, get nostalgic. But I thought when I came back, and I was about 12 years old, that this is rubbish. And sadly, it seems to be getting worse. Anyway, right, next question. So, yeah, probably RoboCop mixed with Children of Men. Right, Sam McGrew asks, any films people call rubbish that you actually think are fantastic? So this is Jim's entire DVD collection,
Yes.
which...
Well, I mean, the obvious one is Independence Day, isn't it? I mean,
But I don't think people call that rubbish.
that's
do
not
they?
popular though,
They
isn't it?
do.
No,
though.
who?
They do.
What's it
every
sitting at-
time it comes up, you've got people who like the general impression of Independence Day, in my experience, is that people are just like, it's a load of shit. It's really dumb, and it's jingoistic American gung ho nonsense, and it's actually not. I mean, I'd agree that it's dumb. But it's not jingoistic, and it's not super kind of pro-America. It's actually the whole message of the whole fucking thing is that this is the moment when faced with an outside enemy. This is the moment when the entire human race decides, shit, we better
Club together and stop
come together.
fighting
Yeah,
each other.
and I really hate the phrase "come together" purely because every politician is using it now on in every whichever side of the spectrum they're on, and it just feels like empty rhetoric. But that is that is the message of the film. It's a wonderful message of unity in the face of other life forms to shoot at. So
Yeah. Well, you know,
I mean that's what it's going to take, isn't it? It's going to it's going to be it's going to take an alien invasion. It's going to take Martians coming and starting a fight for the human race.
Do you
to
think people
stop
would
warring
club
amongst
together
themselves.
if
no.
that happened?
No.
I think it would be the opposite. I think people would still just
Well,
keep
someone would just
fighting
cut a
out
deal
of
with them,
terror.
wouldn't they? Think about it.
I think it.
Listen, we're getting away from the fucking question here, right?
Well,
Why would you cut a deal with Earthlings?
Well, you look
The
at
technology
they are
got you here.
stupid.
you look at the kind of the Roman invasion of Britain as a model of that, don't you?
No,
And
no,
basically
no.
there was unity for a while when everyone just sort of wait a minute, these fucking Romans are mugging us off. Even the ones who had been Romanicized, is that a word? The ones who were living in Roman towns and wearing togas and speaking Latin, even they were just like, we're actually getting mugged off here. They've put us in massive debt and still treat us like second-class citizens and still beat us up in the streets and blah, blah, blah. So eventually, even the ones who told the line with the Romans kind of, so it was sort of, they did unite, and then they immediately disunited and settled into different tribes. And so, I mean, it would be unity with a common purpose, but it wouldn't last very long.
Listen, what the fuck are you talking? Listen,
Sorry.
get back to it now, right? Here is the fucking
what
best
shite are
American
you gonna-
movie
Oh,
of the
God.
lot.
Look at that. We've gone from history and interest in politics. Go on, what shite you got to spell?
Crank.
Let's hear it. Crank.
I'm
you know.
not even sure if Crank is an American movie. I'm not sure who financed it and funded it.
Although I do love how we talked about Independence Day without actually talking about Independence Day for 5 minutes. Yeah.
So Crank is... so I don't actually like any of the other movies, including by the directors Neville Dean Taylor. Neville Dean and Taylor, if you've not heard that before. It's two guys. Because the rest of their stuff is shite. But they just got it right with, Stop Clock with Crank. It's the perfect fucking... It's the best Die Hard ripoff. Because it's now like... Oh, yeah. It's like Die Hard meets Inner Space, basically. It's like, yeah, your own body is going to fucking destroy you. So you got to keep running and battering people. Like, and you got to keep putting stuff in it. Like, this is the greatest movie of all
I
time.
mean, it'd be like a great video game, actually, wouldn't it? You just
Well,
got to
it's
continually go
clearly
around smashing
it's the best
shit
video
out of
game
things.
movie of all time. Like, it's clearly influenced by a lot of video game stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the ending, which I think is in the standard. It's so,
Does he actually admit it?
it clearly is, isn't it? Come on, have you seen the titles? The titles for it are in 8-bit graphics.
I mean, the people who made Hardcore Henry, which is basically Video Games the movie, denied that it was directly influenced by video games at all. And it's like, what are you
I
talking
mean, it's
about?
practically shot for shot, isn't it?
I mean,
from
it
video
is.
game
It
stuff.
is. I mean, the fucking. The final boss gets defeated after Hardcore Henry jumps up a load of floating platforms to punch them. Like,
Name me one game that's happened.
That happens all the time.
Nonsense.
Another one before we switch to Dave here is, of course, the sheer majesty of Freddy Got Fingered.
Wow.
Which,
Jesus fucking Christ!
so,
Bones.
listen,
Like, don't give me shit about my DVD collection when this is the fucking.
this is the crap
This
you're
is the level.
bringing
Freddy
out.
Got Fingered is not the greatest movie of all time. It's
Crank
not,
is.
right, but it works perfectly. If you think about it, it's just a big budget exercise in pissing people off. It is the thing which exercise.
Basically, you like it because it's your fucking career, but in a DVD version.
Listen, all I'm saying is, it's called Freddy Got Fingered, and that's on shelves. Like, I'm sorry, if you can cut a deal with
Somebody
it.
finance that. We should go straight into movie making right now.
Exactly. If you can cut a deal with a publisher or a studio or a distributor for a film called Freddy Got Fingered, then you are the greatest fucking mogul of all time. The best thing about that is, though, that on the DVD there is that bit, there's the PG-13 version, and it's 12 minutes long, because all the stuff's been cut out of it. And so it's just, he goes off to Hollywood and comes back. Like, you know what? This is funnier than most of the Wayans movies.
I watched the film Cruel Intentions in America with all the references to sex and drugs cut out, which is the entire fucking film.
It revolves around the cocaine
put
issue.
a different film on. Because they cut the references out, but they haven't like bothered re-editing or anything. So you're watching it and you're like, where's that famous scene gone? Like, oh, now none of this plot makes any sense whatsoever, and it's about 25 minutes long. Just play a different film if you're going to play it before The Watershed.
It revolves around. Doesn't
Yeah,
one
her
of the,
crucifix has got the cocaine, and
got
that's
coke
part
in
of the
it,
plot
right?
point. And
And she gets
the
busted on that.
sex is massive in like plot points and characters' relationships.
Well, that's why they have the bet.
Yeah.
Dangerous Liaisons, right? Fuck me. But Dave, have you got any actual good examples to this?
Sex is massive. Dave Mills 2016.
London is the Fourth Reich, and sex is massive. Great.
I suppose one for me. Well, I mean, again, it's a similar thing to Independence Day. A lot of people really like it, and correctly so. But Home Alone got critically battered and still has a shite rating on Rotten Tomatoes, even though it is the second greatest Christmas film of all time, behind, of course, Die Hard.
Yeah, Home Alone is really fucking good.
It is really
So,
good.
was it 1990? So I was 6 when that came out. I remember it's because back in the old days, we saw it in theaters, or that was it, or you had to
then
go
you waited,
home, you know. So the thing, the buzz about that movie was so big that even myself and my friends knew about it. And being, I'm not sure how old Macaulay Culkin was then, but
Not
he's
too dissimilar age
Yeah,
to
he's
what you've
living
been, yeah.
the dream, because if you're a kid and you're frustrated that you're not allowed to go and do the things that you want to go out and play with your friends after a certain time, or you want to do this, that, and the other. Like Home Alone is the perfect kind of
there are suddenly
cathartic,
no rules.
It's just proper wish fulfillment stuff there. Like the bit where he gets the BB gun down.
It's just so many. It's just that
Yeah,
it's considered
the
a classic
fucking
now,
spider
to be
shit though.
honest.
Oh man, when he gets the tarantula out, I'm like, nope, no. But it plays. The best thing about it, Dave, is that Home Alone plays. It's a movie which stars a kid, but it's also one of those movies which stars a kid which actually focuses on things that kids are afraid of. And so it's not like one of those patronising adult style. Oh, and then the child was afraid of this. Like it.
The thing in the cellar.
It makes it into
the grate.
It's not just in another way of shooting it would be. It makes a noise and he runs away, but it doesn't, like the way it's shot, that makes it look like it's alive, that it's real, that it's coming for him. And then the fucking guy, the groundskeeper or whatever, and the music in the first two Home Alone
Oh my
movies
god, it's so
unreal.
good. It's absolutely brilliant.
It's
Candles
unreal.
in the Window is amazing. And another film which is a very different tack, Fountain, which most people definitely hated.
You mean
I
The
actually quite
Fountain?
enjoyed, The Fountain. So yeah.
Aronofsky, right?
Aronofsky,
It's fucking
yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah,
I love that movie, which makes me a pretentious film school tosser.
Yeah, most people hated it because it's certainly not kind of linear in many senses, and it's a very different type of
It's about
filmmaking.
the tree of life.
But
It's about cancer being cured. It's about the Inquisition. It's it's a very fucking good movie. But do you remember when Darren Aronofsky was going to do RoboCop remake?
oh, that would be
Oh my word!
fantastic.
It would just be London. It would just be us in the pub later on. I'm sure there are so many. The thing, when you think about what films, so Roger Ebert, he actually apologized, and this is the thing that's really interesting about him, is that as the years went on, he would write about movies that he'd seen again with maybe 20 or 25 years distance on them, and he would write about them and say, I was actually wrong about this. The film plays better now than it, and that's the thing with video games. Most of them, because they're so technologically focused, they can't have that. So Citizen Kane, for example, got sledged and it didn't do very well at the box office, and it critically it took a bit of a pounding. Maybe that's a blowback on the big hype about it, but you watch that film with just a little bit of distance and you're like, man, that is really good. And there's so many movies.
It was the first fucking film to have ceilings. Like, it was...
How are we going to shoot it that low? Dig the floor
Dig
out.
a hole, mate.
Yeah, it had amazing. They really changed how films were shot, and You know, they were just doing things and throwing the rules out, because the rules that had been established in Hollywood by that point were very rigid and it was very much a production line. And I just love that, the idea that was a massive innovation at the time, having a set with a fucking ceiling on it.
I'd also like to issue a formal apology to Orson Welles for not including Citizen Kane in our list of greatest directorial debuts.
No, that was a choice that we'd made.
Yeah, we had fucking Josh Whedon, but not him.
No, everyone always talks about Citizen fucking Kane,
true.
don't they? But what I'll say is, while we're talking about the video game stuff, this whole shite about where is video games Citizen Kane, right? Citizen Kane is lauded as as a great movie, and for some the great movie, and is the thing that a lot of people want video games a moment to get to, because it took everything it took bits of other forms, theatre in particular, but it rendered them through the thing that only that art form could do. So when I think about Citizen Kane, I think about all those incredible effect shots. The peacock going up through the rafters, digging out the floor, the dual focus, all of that sort of stuff. So that cannot be done on the theatre. You know, obviously that you can't have that sort of framing, because depending on when you're sitting, there are various ways in which you can force perspective, but you cannot force it in that way. So Citizen Kane used elements from the other arts and combined them with this new thing that could not and had not been done before. When people talk about video games version of that, I'm not sure what they expect. Like, if you think about what interactivity and all of that, it's like, you've had it already. Like, you've had it in whatever experience you really loved, which combined decision-making and your own volition with other forms. So basically, you cannot control Citizen Kane beyond moving it back and forward. You can't alter the outcome of the movie. Video game Citizen Kane moment you're chasing it doesn't exist, because it already happened.
Virtual reality
Tetris.
will not open up some doors in that terms?
It could do, and one of the most exciting things about virtual reality for me is experiential. Not, I'm kicking a ball around. I mean, I'm on top of Everest.
Yeah, there's definitely a market for that type of stuff, just that you can't do in the everyday. Yeah, I mean, going around the house and stuff and doing all these kind of things, whatever the games are, is interesting. But yeah, to go to a place that you could never really get otherwise, like here's what we see on Mars, from NASA stuff or something.
The NASA stuff already.
Brilliant.
The Apollo 11 lunar lander stuff on HTC Vive is so amazing. A proper kind of...
It's too hard though.
When you turn, so you're in the lunar lander, and you turn and look right, and there is Neil Armstrong, and you're like, whoa. And it is one of the proper Keanu in the
scale is mad. Like, I remember, like, Burns made me play it, and you as Burns says, you turn and there's, like, the astronauts sitting there, and the astronaut's just there, and it's like it's really weird to explain how much of a moment that is when you're like, I am in this space.
Yeah, because it tricks your senses. Because I'm obviously,
really
when you
does.
watch films or you play video games, you're still aware that you're in a room or a cinema or whatever.
Yeah.
But when your entire field of vision is that, your brain is telling you are physically there.
Yeah,
which is why I'm going to try to put it on and fall over, as are a lot of people. Because as soon as you're in a 3D space, you want to start walking.
I kept on putting the Vive controllers down on tables that weren't actually there in front of me. So there's a table in the game, and you're like, I need to put this down. And the other one is, as the last man on Earth who wears a wristwatch, is that you can see your hands. And so I kept on turning the controller over in the thing, expecting to see the face on my watch. But it is amazing. I think there will be a new discussion. I think what VR isn't just technically video games, though. I think that's blending a lot of the other art forms.
Absolutely.
So yeah, right, all right, let's stop talking all this shit about that and move on to, right, which one of these, Dave, did you fucking, right. Listen, Tom R. Jackson asks, what is the best film that flopped financially but was actually great? So there are the best, so you're probably thinking about all the big ones like Heaven's Gate or whatever. So Tom Shane, my boy, obviously wrote an amazing article about this and he's just said there are no turkeys anymore. So John Carter was shite, right? And it did nothing. Did no business, basically. And Disney were like, oh, and the same with The Lone Ranger. But then it did loads of business elsewhere. So now you've got you've got films being edited for overseas markets. And so now all those films that you think about, those big budget, big losses like Ishtar, actually, no one's thinking about that. But you know what I mean? It doesn't happen anymore. What I think the more that they really, you have to go some way to really fuck it up financially, because there are so many markets and there are so many revenue streams that you will inevitably kind of break even or get close enough to just being able to write it off as a tax dodge. But the ones that really fucking flopped, that just disappeared from cinemas, that you remember, I think that's what it's more about. A film you wanted to see at the cinema that just went because no fucker went to see it, and it was moved because Harry Potter 17 was on. So, yeah, I mean...
But there's been massive hits that failed financially at the time. So obviously Citizen Kane, we talked about.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Wizard of Oz.
Yes, true.
Gone with the Wind. None of these were, and now
The Thing.
Absolute classics. Yeah, The Thing as well.
The Thing, I'm not sure that The Thing was really battered, but it didn't.
It didn't do very well,
No.
and it wasn't considered a good film.
No, it wasn't, because it was out the same year as E.T., wasn't it? And The Thing is one of the movies we are up for considering doing in the not the director's commentary.
Yeah, definitely.
And that'll probably follow the first one, which is Alien, which is still coming. As you know, we've had a busy week, so we'll be recording that.
Didn't Blade Runner get fucking munched at the box office
Yes.
as well?
Yeah.
Well, when you look into the history of that and what who was financing it, so you've got the Shaw brothers, you've got Alan Ladd Jr., the Ladd Company, and Laddie, as he was known, Star Wars, and so they were kind of being sold and the same with Alien, it was Star Wars, but this, so it's it's in space, and I think a lot of what people thought Blade Runner would be, is that kind of Star Wars adventure, but set on Earth in a very futuristic looking Earth. Nah, it's probably the last time Ridley Scott did something really truly amazing.
He's in the second one right now, isn't he?
Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, bad title.
But just but yeah, that film, I think, no one needs to bang on about fucking Blade Runner. Everyone knows what it's
Fully aware how
it's
it is
about.
now, yeah.
But if you've seen the movie and you love it, and you haven't read the shenanigans behind the making of it, Blockbuster by Tom Schoen does have a great section on that, and on some of the hubris of the filmmakers, on Ridley Scott coming in and saying, in what's the name of Tyrell Industries, whatever they're called, the guy who makes the replicants, who gets killed, that Ridley comes in, he's like, no, I don't like this. Reverse the set, like flip it upside down, and like, Ridley, it's gonna take days. And like, I don't give a fuck, mate. Like, okay. And
that book is brilliant. Is it that and Easy Riders, Raging Bulls is one that we come back to. They're really two go-to books for the history of.
Yeah, there's loads of really cool stuff. Like as well, if you're into films and you want to get more out of it or whatever. So when I did my dissertation about 20,000 years ago, you could just go to the BFI and you pay a fee, and you can find, if there's a film that you want to know about, anything. So you can just pull out the archives for Sight and Sound for that year. And one of the great pieces that I read on RoboCop was called "In the Detritus of Humanity," and it really clued me into a kind of different way of thinking about that movie. Obviously, I knew it was hugely satirical.
Is that still based off Shaftesbury Avenue?
Yes, it's on Tottenham Court Road. So you go down Tottenham Court Road, it's just by where I get my hair cut, isn't it?
I thought it might be turned into some kind of shitty coffee shop.
No, it's by the Odeon, so it's still there. It's still there. So yeah, right. Okay, next question. Samurai Rabbit, supporting cast who overshadowed the lead. Right. So
I think you should read the brackets there.
Oh yeah, you can't have Alan Rickman in Prince of Thieves. Well, why not? I'm fucking making the rules here. So one of the interesting things about this question is it brings up who is the lead in a certain movie. So again, fuck me, Godfather Part 2, you could argue that De Niro overshadowed Pacino, but they are co-leads essentially. Like they lead the section in which they appear. It's almost like an anthology movie cut, like in an intercut anthology movie in that regard. So, but yeah, what have you got, Dave? You've got some answers for this.
I think most roads kind of lead towards the antagonist of the film. So, the Joker, Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, or of course Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs. But I mean, those films are purposefully structured around the interest in the bad guys and they drive the film. So it's not as such that they overshadow. And another kind of one further out left field, Kathy Bates in Misery.
Yep.
Or even Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. But I think they're all purposefully structured that way.
Yeah, those are antagonists. They're giving the correct answer, Dave, you idiot, is of course Robert Duvall as Colonel Kilgore in Apocalypse Now. A supporting character in the truest sense. He's not on screen for very long at all, and not even in an Anthony Hopkins sort of way. He's not meant to drive a lot of it. He's just there and is part of that universe. He's so fucking powerful that once the movie rolls on, you're constantly, like a lot of people say this, you're thinking about Bill Kilgore. You're like, what the fuck did I just see? With like, who was the guy in the fucking cravat? And in the Air Cavalry, like, man. And the more you think about the movie, when I think about Apocalypse Now, do you think about Willard? You think about the opening, right? Where it's like Saigon. Mm-hmm. You think about Kurtz, that big skull coming out. But a lot of it, I think, is Valkyries, Air Cavalry, is Kilgore walking around. In the morning. Exactly. Kilgore walking around, handing out death cards. And then that scene where the guy has been hit with shrapnel or whatever, his guts are hanging out. And one of Kilgore's subordinates is, he says, what's he saying? He says, oh, he really wants water. And he's like, well, you give him some fucking water, man. He's got his guts hanging out. And they're just tiny bits of an actual character in there. Like, he's clearly a psychopath, but tiny bits of a man behind a facade. And, I think he's also, we should probably do a podcast on the best quotes that are always misquoted, because the Napalm in the Morning quote it's not even how it's quoted in the DVD. Like, it's got a massive ellipsis in the middle. There's a whole story in the middle of, I love the smell of napalm in the morning, smells like victory. There's like another 35 words discussing why he feels like that. So yeah, what about you, Jim? What films have you watched where it's the dude from Independence Day, isn't it? The dad.
You're on about Judd Hirsch?
It doesn't overshadow.
No, he does, doesn't he? He's the key. Yeah.
No, it doesn't overshadow.
I thought you were going to fall for that and just fucking be like, oh, well, actually, the chess scene is pretty much the most integral scene. David!
I mean, thematically it is, because that film was essentially about fatherhood. But, yeah, no, I can't think of anything for that one, so I'm not fucking answering.
What have you seen where there's been someone who's truly...
I understand the fucking question.
I'm trying to jog your memory, you twat. You couldn't think of one. Just think of the Roman Empire. Go for that.
The Roman Empire. Oh, supporting characters in the Roman Empire that overshadowed
Julius Caesar's son.
Nah.
You've got nothing.
My brain has gone totally blank on this one.
Think of all the great movies that you've seen and think about shit.
I don't even like films.
That may be a problem going
probably on the wrong podcast
going forward.
I mean, I can probably think of a few TV shows where that's definitely the case. But
Seth in the OC, right?
What's that fucking film that Russell Crowe was just in recently? About the detectives and that.
Oh, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang 2.
No.
The Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys. The kid in that pretty much overshadowed the adult leads in it. She was really good. And and I think that sometimes happens when you get like a really good child actor in something, because good and likable child roles in films are so rare. Mm-hmm. It's so rare to see a child that isn't irritating.
Stranger Things did incredible to get an entire cast of them.
I mean, Christ, that was, although they're starting to fucking annoy me now because they are everywhere. But
children.
But no, that kid in that film, what I've already forgotten the title of, she struck me as, I was like, this kid's gonna be like, I really hope this kid doesn't have a mad fucking Drew Barrymore adulthood, because I reckon that kid's gonna be an amazing actress when she grows up. But that's the only recent example I can think of. I've got loads of examples from Star Trek, which I don't want to mention.
The best example is, I think you're right, that some of those best examples are from television, where characters that are not the star become, in the popular consciousness. So the fucking OC, right? So Seth,
So we're talking about the OC and on the back of Crank and what other shite have you been talking
listen, I'm not going to sit around. I could talk to you about fucking Jeanne Dielman if you want. All right. You know what overshadowed Jeanne Dielman? Nothing. It's like 15 hours long.
15 hours of agony.
Yeah, and who was it saying?
Old Wilf on Doctor Who.
Who?
Wilf, you know, the Catherine Tate's character's dad.
Fuck off, mate. I don't want to hear about this shite.
He was her dad. He was in like one scene in a Christmas special, and it wasn't even established that he was that character's dad. Not dad, granddad. It wasn't even established that he was that character's grandfather. And he made such a lasting impression. I can't remember who the fuck it was now. It's left my brain. You know that song, Right Said Fred?
What the hell are you babbling about?
No, not the band named after the song. The song, Right Said Fred.
You've lost it. No more drinking for Sir James Trinker.
What's his fucking name? I can't. This is my problem with podcasts. I can never fucking remember everything. I just kind of sit
start
there
writing
going,
down.
But you know, and then but you have like a million links to something. So you start off with like, you know, there was a big bang, right? And then things I'm gonna have to extrapolate. He was in loads of fucking Ealing comedy films and shit.
Great. The podcast's gone right. No more talk from you. So I think when you're...
It's like, imagine a likeable Bob Monkhouse.
Bob Monkhouse is very likeable. When you think about characters who overshadowed the leads...
I don't want to go. I want to get off this topic.
All right,
I'm just going to fucking
talk about it, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. One of the most interesting things about The Godfather Part 3 is that because of the dispute between Robert Duvall and Francis Coppola regarding money, is that Duvall did not reprise his role as Tom Hagen, and it destroys a lot of what they were going for in the movie, because you realise that Tom Hagen is the moral, as moral as you can be, underpinning. He is the other side of Michael Corleone at this point. So they have that amazing argument towards the end of Part 2 where they're saying, "Oh, why have you?" He's saying, "Oh, why do you have to win? Why do you have to wipe everyone out?" It's like, okay. And Michael Corleone's so fucking in the bunker that he can't differentiate between his enemies anymore. And Tom is the last thing keeping him sane, close to being sane. And then his absence in Part 3 really, I mean, there's loads of problems with Part 3, but it really undermines...
Actually, that's a film that everyone hates that I think is probably the best of the three. Best
review of it I've ever heard was probably the best film of 1990. No one cares. So what came out in 1990? The Two Jakes, Back to the Future Part 3, Dances with Wolves. It's
Home Alone.
Home Alone, shit. It's definitely not the fucking greatest movie.
Or was it 91? I'm not sure.
It is 1990, yeah. So, yeah, well, anyway, listen, that's the podcast. We will let you know more about the cool shit that we're up to with Capcom when we are allowed. But I'm sure you'll be seeing more from that very soon. Anyway, look, it's been fun, apart from the mad babbling.
Bernard Cribbins!
Wow, there you go.
There you go.
There we go.
Right.
That usually happens just after we press cut.
Fuck me.
Fridge logic there. Right, anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for listening in. See ya.
See ya.